Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session of The Future is Here, so to speak, now that we're looking at life, hopefully, after COVID. And I'm delighted to welcome Joy Uyanwune with me today, she works with a company called Decision Support in Nigeria. Now, Joy, welcome, first of all, and thank you so much for joining us today. You've been working with Decision Support for how long now at this stage?
Oh, thank you, Finn. I've been working for close to 20 years. It's been a good while. And thank you for having me.
Amazing. Oh, listen, my pleasure. Thanks for giving us the time today, Joy. The market clearly over the last little while has gone through huge upheaval as a result of COVID. Can you tell me a little bit about how your market and how your business got through 2020?
Ah, it's an interesting question, really, because being that we're researchers and being that we have to deal with interacting with humans, it really did affect us. That's the truth. It did affect us in two major ways, really. It The fact that the clients seemed to cocoon themselves, you know, and then those who were, confident enough to do anything um, weren't really very as active as you would expect them to be, you know. So the year was a tough one, really. In fact, what am I saying? Most of the year, the early part of the year was quiet. The pandemic started, the shutdown started early in 2020, round about in Nigeria from about late January, early February. So things kind of shut down. We were lucky to have a couple of projects going on, but even those had to wait, So because of the pandemic, it was a struggle. That's the truth. Yeah.
I'm sure. But look, at the end of the year, Joy, did you meet what you had set out for your budget? Did you not quite make it? Did you do a little better? How did you kind of feel that the year went for you?
Finn, the truth of it is, surprisingly, we were busy from the second half of the year, um, but because of a couple of difficulties, one with projects not really coming out as much, we did drop. We didn't make as much as we were expecting. In fact, I think it was about 39 point something, almost 40% off the mark. So um, it was a rough year, to be honest. It was a rough year. Yeah. But we are looking up because things have picked up. It does feel like people feel like the virus, at least in Nigeria, people feel like the virus is going, and it's the vaccinations are here. People are gradually embracing the vaccinations. So people are a little bit more comfortable. People are wearing their masks. So there's more comfort when you sit around people, So that's stirring up things back to close to normalcy, but not quite there yet.
And so looking to the year ahead, Joy, do you think that 2021 will see the market and the business recovering to where it was before COVID, or will it take a little bit longer, do you think?
Finn, in Nigeria, the issues are beyond the pandemic. That's the difficult challenge that we have in this market. We have the pandemic, but then we also have the insecurity issues that we're grappling with. So that's a dampener. But all the same, in terms of the the situation around the global health issues, I would tell you the truth. It's been, I hate to sound like, what would I call myself? But it's interesting that we're having more jobs from specific areas in these times, you know, because when the pandemic showed up,
Which is a
it's,
positive sign, right?
yes, which is a positive sign. I mean, interestingly, the fact that we were in this situation suddenly made everybody to realize that Nigeria didn't have the health facilities that we needed. And apart from the numbers, there were a lot of things that the Nigerian health industry needed to do. So we find ourselves getting a lot of health projects nowadays, and also a lot of education projects. So it's an interesting mix, really. Where we traditionally got a lot of research, we we don't get as much. In fact, there's some that I haven't even given out a brief in all that while. So that's that's uh, that's difficult, and that's sad to see, you know. But there are other clients and industries that are very busy at this time, you know.
Um, One of the things that I think many people have been surprised at, Joy, is because of the fact that so many people have had to work more from home, that perhaps companies need to think differently about the amount of time that people spend in the office, the amount of time that people can work from home, the levels of efficiency that are produced like that. Is that a discussion which is also going on in Nigeria around, can people work from home? Do their houses perhaps prevent that from happening, or is it something that they want to do more of? What's the general outlook in terms of work behavior going forward?
Interestingly, Finn, I think it's very obvious that a lot of people like to work from home because I mean they have the comfort of the home, and they don't have to go through traffic, particularly if you're in a big city like Lagos. You know, it's wild. There are a lot of it's crazy out there, but it's a mix. It's a mixed bag. A lot of employers um, would rather have people come in to the office so that you know you can keep your eyes on what they're doing, um, and also for those who have, you know, there are a lot of people who want to be in the office so that they can wear a different cap in the evening and wear a different cap during the day, you know. So that's there. However, many of the smaller companies, smaller businesses, Decision Support Inclusive is now looking at how we can work with all the platforms that are available and all the equipment that we now have to be able to interact with one another. And there's no point traveling from one point to the other. Now we don't have to go to Abuja, which is the capital city of Nigeria, to have meetings and so on. So I mean, it saves cost, it saves time, and you know, in Nigeria, traditionally they'd say, if you're serious, come here, let me see you, let's talk. But now that has changed. You know, whether you're serious or not, we can do this discussion over online, and it's acceptable. So it's really good in our office and in small businesses, and I guess in bigger businesses as well. That has become more and more acceptable. But in terms of working from home, I know that employers would feel more comfortable if they could see their workers, um, and just unless we are all digitalized, which a number of us have started to learn about. You know, we're not there yet, but we're putting things together to know how to get really digitalized so that you can monitor what's going on, you can understand what the workings of the company is at every single time, you know, together.
And I mean, one of the related, I think, questions
Mm.
to that, Joy, is that you know many of the so-called experts that have sprung up around the pandemic have said, well, clearly companies need to reduce their fixed cost base. So that means looking at, indeed, can they work with fewer desks, smaller office space, offer more people the opportunity to work from home? Do you see that analysis taking place in Nigeria too, that the companies are trying to reduce their
Yes,
fixed
Finn.
costs and
Yes.
move towards something more flexible?
Oh, yes, Finn. I see that a lot. And even with decision support, we've had to make adjustments. We now have people who come and we call them contract workers. So they come when there is a assignment or tasks, and then they leave. We don't have to pull in everybody at the same time. Right in 2020, it was an eye opener that we really don't need to sit together. It's not because it wasn't safe. We now recognize that, hey, not only is it not safe, it's really actually not necessary. You know, right now at DS, we interchange the days of the week when people come to work. So some people come on so days and other people come on other days. But even at that, we'd had to let go of people. Don't even bother. If we need you, we will call you. So we've had to make adjustments in that manner as well, because we have to keep costs down. Um, we don't know what 2021 would be like, even though
Of
it's
course.
it's improved a bit, but just to be on the safe side, have to keep our expenses reduced as well. You
Absolutely. Absolutely. I guess that also raises a related question, Joy, that in order to be able to facilitate changes in work practices like that, some companies may need to make levels of investment into either platforms or other parts of the business. Is there a willingness, do you think, in the sector to make those investments, or are people still a little more cautious about making those sorts of financial moves?
No, I think there's excitement actually to get onto platforms. I think the only challenge that we have is that of finances. But if it's acceptable and exciting, yes, definitely. And for us, those are things that we're interested in working with um, the IT people who know about it, to educate and enlighten us to truly get digitalized as well. You know, so it's very important. It's not just us at DS, but also some of the companies that I speak to. I notice that more and more they are appreciating that this is a techie period, a season, and I mean it's helping efficiency, it's helping for speed as well. So it is something that definitely is a plus in this market, definitely.
Um, Thinking a little bit more about the clients, Joy, have you noticed a change in their demands and in their expectations from insight supporters, in business intelligence partners, over the course of the past number of years, or particularly after COVID? Has there been a change that's noticeable in what they're looking for?
Um, Quite sincerely, I think because of the fact that the consumers themselves are changing, the demands for the types of research are probably um, changing form, changing in terms of them having new opportunities to look at. Okay. However, The kinds of agencies that they look for to do business with includes data analytics, and and although they themselves, many of our big clients themselves now realize that, hey, we have a lot of data actually, so why don't we just look inwards? We have that to contend with, but we are glad that they also recognize that we have a role to play, because someone has to put all your data together for you, in a way that it makes sense for you. You know, sometimes you see data and it's really not saying, it's not speaking. It's not someone needs to interpret the data that you see. It's a lot of figures, a lot of information out there, but researchers have a way of analyzing all that extra information that you have, you know. So even those who rely on sales data from just um, uh, all the interconnections that they have every day, someone needs to help. Although I also notice that a good number of the companies have employed insights managers. They have also employed um, um, research managers in house. They call them, they are research managers, but they are not really so. I don't think they don't, most of them don't come out of research agencies, but I guess they get trained, and they're knowledgeable about research, and they're able to help them out, but they still employ the services of research companies. So it's good. It's just that Finn, generally the numbers of research projects coming from consumer related services dropped a good deal in recent times, you know. But I think it will pick up. It should pick up.
You mentioned, well, fingers crossed, right?
Yes.
You mentioned a little bit earlier, Joy, that there are. It's not just COVID and the pandemic that provides a challenge, I guess, to the market. But in looking towards how we move out of the pandemic and out of the new work practices, I guess, that we've all learned to adapt to, do you see improvements coming in those other challenge areas as well?
Yes, I definitely see it. It looks very gloomy at the moment. It does, because I mean, if you look at the negative sides, it's a lot and it's spreading. But the truth is, we have a government that is paying attention, trying to do something. The service chiefs of the defense and the army and all of that have just recently been changed, so we feel a little safer. We also have we have the governors being more active and more they communicate more with the people, so we know what's happening, we know what their plans are, so we feel slightly safer. So I think that businesses will pick up, and there's more talk about economic development around the country, so it helps. Um, in general, I think that the proportion of investments into Nigeria dropped a good deal over the past year. Um, so we're looking at changes in this direction as well. And when these things happen, when there's a positive atmosphere in the country, researchers are the ones who enjoy a lot of this, because there's a lot to do, there's a lot of work to do. In our market, the agencies help to direct the organizations, mm, mm, help them understand who we are, help them understand um, where the businesses go. Nigeria, as you know, we're a completely diverse market. We're one country, but we're so different, north and west and south and everything. So our researchers are very busy. We just need a stable environment if possible. And the way I'm seeing it, I'm looking at a post-COVID era. You know, it may not be post-COVID in terms of completely wiped out virus, because I mean, hey, even polio is still here today. So I know that it may still be there to contend with, but we're looking at returning to something close to normalcy. That's what I'm hoping for, anyways. So we're looking positively to the future.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed that all those developments remain positive.
Yeah,
Um,
I think so.
a little point that we were chatting about just before we came on air, Joy, was that if somebody was interested in opening a business or moving a business into the continent of Africa and was looking at Nigeria, what words of advice would you give them in deciding upon that move?
Well, I'd say it's a good move. I'd say try and engage the locals. Um, you need you need a guide, and you need foot soldiers. You need people who know the terrain, definitely. And I would also advise to see if you can get a niche area, because in our market, it's getting more and more obvious that people companies might actually be enjoying a good chunk of business when they get into specialisms, you know. Um, so, and also you can collaborate with others. So if you have people who are very good at this and very good at that, you can work together. Um, so that's one thing to look at in terms of opportunities. Um, Also, I would say get your team to be trained from the bottom up, if you can, you know, because most of us who have trained our workers from, like from the bottom up, we know how much of an advantage it's been. So that when you now have experts who come in to direct or manage the business, you are going miles ahead as well. So all you need is good mind, people who know the terrain, um, and what was I going to say? And the tools to offer your services as well.
It was just I was about to say though, they always say that the best way to learn a business and to understand a business, as you rightly point out, is from the bottom up, because then you understand where the road bumps are, so that in either trying to grow the business or to expand the business, you
Right,
understand where the strengths and weaknesses are.
right.
Um,
That's really
in
a
in a
nice word to
slightly
learn.
similar vein, Joy, if you met a young entrepreneur, who lived in either Abuja or Lagos, or was thinking of wherever in the country, and was thinking of setting up a research company, what would be your one piece of golden advice to them in these times?
Um, I would say try to identify those businesses that are in new areas of interest, because that's where the businesses are coming out. You know, try and spot those businesses who are in new areas. Um, in Nigeria right now, there are a lot of small businesses. Unemployment is unemployment, as in normal corporate office jobs, is very poor right now. It's from what we heard was about 33.3%, as at the last time that the Bureau of Statistics gave us figures. Um, so there's a lot of entrepreneurial energy right now. People are coming together to see what they can offer. Where they're getting where they're getting ideas is from being able to plug into people's needs. So there's a lot of service provision. There are a lot of products that are coming up. So in helping those markets, in helping those new businesses, there's work to be done. So I would encourage any entrepreneur to, hey, come down. There's a lot of work. And again, I would advise any research agency right now to look at the government area. The government is groping around for information, help. They need help to be able to put Nigeria on a good footing, and it's the data suppliers that are there to do this business. So it's a good time to come in. To be honest, it's a good time to come in. I would say.
Well, Joy, thank you. You know,
I would say.
thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for sharing your views. I think the one element of, I guess, of SMR that we're incredibly lucky with is that we have and know friends all over the world from whom we can learn from their experiences and from their knowledge of the markets that they operate in. And for many, stories from Nigeria, you know, they will have had no idea of what the market represents, what the market challenges, and what the market opportunities are. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that little bit of time with us today.
Thank you so much, Finn. It's a big pleasure to be able to speak and do this on behalf of Esomar. It's amazing. Esomar is so significant in the businesses that are here in Nigeria. You know that through the years we've been excited about all the Esomar projects and webinars and the rest of it, making a lot of difference to us. So a lot of learning, a lot of networking. So good, brilliant. I'm happy to be here.
Well, and of course, we're delighted, Joy, that you're joining us on council for the next term as well. So I just hope that we can meet in person rather than continually over Zoom calls or conference calls. I don't think human beings were designed to spend so much time in front of a screen.
That's what I told you. I don't think people want to wear different hats at different times, you know. So we have to get to see
But
each other in Amsterdam.
it's so true. It's so true. Joy, thank you very much indeed. And for any viewers that are watching this, if you do have questions for Joy, or you'd like to have, you'd like to have a discussion with her about any element of either doing business in Nigeria or in the broader continent of Africa, please don't hesitate to drop us a line, and we'll make sure to forward all of those queries on to Joy. Joy, again, many, many thanks. And as I said, look forward to seeing each other in person soon.
I look forward to that. Thank you so much, Finn. Thanks a whole lot.